The movie begins with the young and energetic Ryan waking up in his car. It's a bright morning on Tuesday the 19th, the day after some crazy events happened in the movie Happy Death Day, which is the predecessor or part 1 of this movie, as Ryan stretches and makes his way across the beautiful college campus with trees and students bustling about. He heads to his dorm room. Once he gets there, he stumbles upon his friend Carter sharing a romantic moment with a girl named Tree. They're so into each other that they hardly notice Ryan, but as soon as Carter catches sight of him, he shoos Ryan away. As Ryan steps outside, his phone rings. His friend Samar is calling to remind him that they're supposed to meet at the lab where they've been working on a really cool science project. This project involves a machine they've built called Sisyphus, or Sissy for friends, that they hope will be able to make time move slowly. That's right, slow down time. When Ryan gets to the lab, Samar and another buddy named Dre excitedly show him some strange data from their machine. It looks like Sissy was turned on earlier in the morning yesterday, but no one knows why or how. Just as they're trying to make sense of this, the college's strict Dean Bronson storms in looking like a thundercloud. He's mad that their experiment has been messing with the electricity on campus and demands that they stop all their work. After Dean Bronson leaves, Ryan sinks into a couch, looking like he's lost his favorite toy. Suddenly, Ryan's phone buzzes with a notification. It's a picture of him sitting on the couch just seconds ago. Who took it? His curiosity leads him to the chemistry lab, where suddenly, Samar appears behind him. But before they can talk much, a terrifying figure wearing a mask that looks like a baby's face pops up and attacks Ryan. And then Ryan wakes up again in his car. It's as if everything is repeating itself. He rushes back to the dorm room and starts babbling to Carter and Tree about feeling like he's reliving the same moments. Tree's eyes widen as she understands what's happening. Ryan is stuck in a time loop, just like she was in part 1 of this movie. Tree and Carter decide to play detective and help Ryan figure out who's behind this spooky babyface mask. They trace Ryan's steps back to the chemistry lab, but this time it's empty. Out of nowhere, the babyface figure shows up again, but Ryan fights back and unmasks him. It's Samar, who was pranking him. Just then, Dean Bronson appears, yelling about the science project again. Tree has an idea. Maybe Sissy is causing these weird time loops. She, Carter, and Ryan go back to the lab to investigate. Tree tells Ryan that she thinks that the science project may be the cause of them reliving the same day over and over, and that they need to fix it before the masked figure finds him again. To stay safe, they choose to hide in a crowded place, a thrilling basketball game, but to their horror, they see lots of students wearing the same babyface mask. Suddenly, the fire alarm rings and chaos erupts. In the confusion, Ryan gets separated from his friends. A masked figure locks eyes with him and gives chase. Just when it looks like Ryan's done for, Tree shows up and saves the day. They unmask the attacker, and surprise, it's another Ryan. This second Ryan explains that he's from a distant reality and that he's here to stop the first Ryan from accidentally causing a disaster with Sissy. Panicking, Ryan triggers Sissy to send second Ryan back to his own timeline. But just then, Dean Bronson bursts in with security guards to shut down the science project once and for all. Before anyone can react, Sissy powers up fully, sending out a huge blast that sends everyone flying. Tree rubs her eyes and wakes up to a familiar sight, Carter's friendly face and her birthday ringtone playing cheerily. Wait a second, she thinks, this can't be happening again. It's Monday the 18th, the same day she's been reliving. When Ryan comes into the room, she can't hold back and yells that he needs to fire up his science gadget to get her out of this repeating day. She's freaking out big time. With the wind in her hair and fury in her eyes, Tree storms across the campus like a tornado, with Carter and Ryan trailing behind her. It's like deja vu. She sees everything happening just like before in the time loop. But first she needs to pay a visit to her sorority house to have a word with her roommate, Lori, about that poison cupcake from part 1 of the movie. When Tree steps into the sorority house, she expects Danielle to greet her like last time, but she's nowhere to be found. Huh, that's odd, Tree thinks. She brushes it off and heads to confront Lori, but when she accuses Lori of the cupcake incident, Lori is clueless. there's no cupcake this time. Tree's brain goes into an overdrive as she realizes things are different in this timeline. Later in the dining hall, Tree, Carter, and Ryan huddle together, whispering about parallel worlds and different timelines as the reason for these weird changes. Tree's trying to stay calm when she spots Danielle approaching. But what's this? Carter and Danielle are a couple here? Yes, guys, and Tree's jaw drops open upon realizing this. But there's another shock waiting for Tree. She goes to meet her dad David for their special birthday lunch. This time her heart leaps with joy when she sees her mom Julie alive and well. Tree runs into her arms crying happy tears. It's been so long since she felt her mother's warm hug. Meanwhile, Ryan and his buddies are back at the lab getting ready to switch on Sissy to fix the timeline. But Tree, who now wants to stay in this new world with her mom, barges in and stops them. Later at night, Tree is scrolling through her phone and sees photos of precious moments with her mom that she didn't have before. But then she sees a news report about Toombs, that nasty serial killer from before, being taken to the hospital. Tree can't let him escape again. She grabs an axe and makes a beeline for his room, but a police officer stops her. Suddenly, Toombs, now wearing that creepy baby face mask, attacks the officer. Tree, handcuffed, scrambles to an elevator, and just when it seems like she's done for, the door opens and Lori's inside. She pulls Tree into the elevator. Tree figures out that in this world, Lori isn't the bad guy. Lori tells Tree that it can't be Toombs either, because she just took him to surgery. But when the lights flicker and go out, and the elevator halts, with a mighty heave, Lori manages to pry the doors open. They tread carefully through a spooky construction area, but Babyface catches up and stabs Lori. Heartbroken, Tree runs for her life up to the rooftop. As she's running, she looks back to see if the killer is following, and whoops! She tumbles off the edge of the building. Guess what? Tree wakes up again on the same day, still in this weird alternate universe. She rushes to the lab and tells Ryan and the gang that they must clone the time loop. But there's a problem. Finding the right code to fix the reactor is guesswork, and they lose track of their attempts because of the loop. Carter comes up with an idea. Tree can remember the codes they tried in each loop. So Tree bravely decides to memorize the codes before offing herself in wacky ways to reset the day, always staying one step ahead of Babyface. But all this dying is taking a toll on her body. One morning she wakes up and collapses in pain. Carter rushes her to the hospital. Waking up in the hospital with a bang, Tree finds herself face to face with Gregory. He seems confused as he has no idea who Tree is. Because of this universe, she's not his student, and he's having a secret fling with Lori instead. Tree, in a flash, tells him to rush and protect Lori from Toombs. With adrenaline pumping through her veins, Tree swipes a gun and makes a beeline for the operation room. But her heart sinks when she finds Lori lifeless. She then catches a glimpse of Toombs dressed as Babyface, trying to sneak up on her. But she's quick and shoots him down. Just when she thinks it's over, another Babyface pops up and grabs her. Tree, in a heroic moment, shoots a gas tank, causing an explosion that takes them both out. The day restarts and Tree eagerly shares everything she's memorized with the group. Their eyes widen as they realize there's just one algorithm left to try. They're so excited that they leap into the air, hugging each other as they get ready to fire up Sissy. Ryan asks Tree if she's made up her mind, this universe or the other one. Tree, with a heavy heart, says she wants to stay, but there's a hiccup. Sissy has a glitch. Ryan figures out it's going to take a lot of typing and about 6 hours to fix. Tree begs them to hurry and leaves. Carter follows her and Tree spills the beans about them being together in the other universe, but she can't leave her mom behind. Carter gently tells her that living this borrowed life isn't right, and the pain of losing her mom made her who she is. Tree, with tears in her eyes, goes to have lunch with her parents. As they chat, she realizes the memories here aren't really hers. They stop at a motel to rest and Tree gets a text from Ryan saying they're almost ready to close the loop. In a cozy room, Tree has a heart-to-heart with her mom Julie, But suddenly, she sees on TV that Toombs is on the loose and has hurt Carter and Lori. Tree's heart races as she has to stop the loop from closing, or they won't come back. She grabs the car keys and makes a run for it, and decides to blow up a power station to stop Sissy and reset the day. As the day restarts, Tree knows she has to go back to her own world. But first, she has some goodbyes to say. She finds Lori and gives her a big hug, telling her she's amazing and to break up with Gregory. Next, she talks to Danielle and tries to apologize, but finds out she's cheating on Carter. Lastly, she has a special birthday lunch with her parents. She asks for a private moment with her mom, and they share tears and laughter over a birthday cake. Tree races back to the lab where all her friends are. With a heavy heart, she says her goodbyes to Ryan and the gang. As they're about to switch on Sissy, Dean Bronson barges in with 2 burly security guards. Determined to take the reactor away, Tree's eyes well up with tears as she tells her friends that every time she's brought back to life, she feels like a battery running out of juice, and she worries she might not come back if she dies again. Suddenly, they hatch a sneaky plan to get the reactor back. Tree gets Danielle to pretend to be a blind student from France to distract Bronson. The group snatches his keys, sneaks into the office, grabs the reactor, and hurries back to the lab. As they're setting up Sissy, Tree glances at the clock and her heart skips a beat. The evil babyface is about to attack Lori at the hospital. Tree makes up her mind to save Lori and sprints to the hospital. In the hospital, Tree stealthily enters Toombs' room, finds a lone police officer. Like a cat, she creeps up, swipes his gun, orders him to call for backup. She storms into the operation room, takes down Toombs just before he can harm Lori. Meanwhile, Dean Bronson realizes something fishy's going on when the lights flicker. He sniffs out that Ryan and the gang have Sissy. With 2 guards, he makes a beeline for the lab. Danielle gives Ryan a heads up, and they barricade the doors. Back to Tree and Lori, they're dashing through the hospital, but get trapped by a sinister figure in a babyface mask. Tree puts on her detective hat and deduces that it's Gregory behind the mask. He unmasks himself, and Tree tells him she knows he wants to hush Lori about their affair. But then, plot twist, Stephanie, Gregory's wife, shows up and shoots Lori. Stephanie passes the gun to Gregory to finish off Tree, but he has a change of heart and shoots Stephanie instead, mockingly saying he's done being married to her. As Gregory aims the gun at Tree, Carter bursts in like a superhero. Gregory tries to shoot Carter but misses, and Tree takes his chance to make a break for it. It's like a high-stakes game of cat and mouse with Gregory chasing Tree. She grabs a screwdriver for defense, but Gregory corners her. But wait, Tree switches on a mega-powerful magnet, and Gregory's stuck to it by a metal chair. Tree launches the screwdriver, and it sails through the air into Gregory's chest. He's out for the count. Tree hurries back and finds Carter helping Lori, who's still breathing, to the paramedics. Lori, with tears in her eyes, thanks Tree for being her hero. Suddenly, the lights flicker and Tree realizes Sissy's buzzing to life. She tells Carter she's going back in time for one big reason. Simply put, Tree chooses to go back to the original timeline since Carter doesn't love her in this alternate one. At the lab, Bronson and the guards break in, but Ryan and friends stall them just enough for Sissy to blast into full power. Tree and Carter lock lips in a kiss for the ages as lights erupt around them. Boom! Tree and the gang find themselves waking up inside the lab. Tree turns to Carter and whispers, "Danielle." Carter looks confused and says who, implying he doesn't even know her properly in this timeline, and Tree releases a sigh of relief, realizing she got her lover back. Time fast forwards a bit and we see the group doing community service, picking up trash. Suddenly, government vans pull up and Dr. Isaac Parker, an agent from the military, steps out. He takes them to the headquarters where he praises them for their amazing science project, but he says they're scratching their heads trying to figure out how it works. Tree offers to help. Dr. Isaac mentions they need a subject for their time loop experiment. Carter says that's kind of evil, unless they deserve it. Tree's eyes twinkle as she says she has the perfect person in mind. In the final scene, Danielle wakes up in bed and lets out a scream that could wake up the dead. Guess what? She's trapped in a time loop. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video.